right, there we go. Sorry, everybody. Minor technical issue right before, like literally the second we started streaming. Murphy's Law. Looks like the stream key changed on Facebook, so I had to reset. I'm Dan Adelko. It's live at the Hive, and we've got
Alex
and
Matt
joining us today. Actually, Alex, why don't you? This is your first one, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, first one. So then you have to introduce yourself. Tell the world a little bit about who you are.
Who I am? Well, I am Alex. I've been working at Honey Pot now for about 2.5 months. I'm doing a digital marketing internship with them. I go to the University of Waterloo, and so far my experience has been fantastic. Learned a lot, everyone is great, and I'm very excited to be here on the live.
Awesome. If I pause for a second, it's only because I'm looking at this thing, making sure that we're actually live on Facebook right now, because I didn't get the notification. Do you guys see it?
I am not seeing it, unfortunately, as well.
Let's see.
I usually get a little notification here saying we're live.
Maybe we should try it again. The live stream looks like it's going live. I'm going to push go live one more time. Let's try that. So we've been live, but we have been live on Periscope and YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody watches us on YouTube because we don't really put much effort into it, to be honest with you. But let's see.
There we are.
But is it? Why is it showing? Doesn't look very happy right now, does it? Okay, so I think we might have a technical issue. Oh no. No, it's good.
Yeah,
there we go.
It's good for me.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, forget it. Okay, Facebook's losing its mind, that's all. That's all that it is. Which actually, you know what, it doesn't surprise me because I spent about 3 hours today debugging like Facebook pixel and product catalog issues that kind of made no sense. Hey, Scott Amos, I hope you're, hey, April, how's it going? Oh, did we just go dark?
Yeah.
We can fix that, just hang tight, everybody.
Yeah. A little bit of a tech day today.
A little bit. Oh, that's all about.
There you go.
Oh, are we back up?
And we're back.
Hello, once again.
And we're going to be gone again, but we'll be back again. I'm not going to touch this phone. I think that's the key. That's connecting the Mevo. Just give it a second. We'll be back. I wonder
You are back, according to Scott.
We are back? Yeah, something is going on with Facebook today because this makes no sense. Let's see.
I think it's just audio that's going out.
I'm seeing red on the camera now.
Oh, there we go.
I think we're looking good.
Okay, we got red on the camera, but it says it's not responding. I see it on live stream, and I don't know what's going on Facebook. There we go. There we go. Someone just turned out the lights. That's all. Okay, nobody touch anything. Okay. Don't even look at Facebook.
Don't even look at the camera.
Don't look at the camera. Don't look at Facebook. Everything will be okay. All right. So, did you get done introducing yourself, or did you go black?
I don't know. I may as well introduce myself. But anyways, if you guys haven't seen me before, my name is Alex. I've been working at Honey Pot for about 2 months now. I am the digital marketing intern from the University of Waterloo. A bit about my experience. It's been very fast-paced, very fast, lots of learning. It's been fantastic, and I'm very excited to be on my first live at the Hive.
Awesome. We see. All right. Scott's saying it's an 80% audio experience. Thanks, Scotty. Yeah, love you too, buddy.
I think Matt is from.
It's a podcast.
Yeah,
What's the problem? Okay.
It's good now. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good now. Matt's saying we look good. Maybe Matt, you should take over production duties. Maybe it's me. All right, so last week we started out and we flipped it around because we usually start with what's working and then we would work into what's new, but we got a lot of comments that people really like the what's new section. So for all, 4 of our fans, we wanted to make sure that we were making you all happy. That's just a joke. We know we've got more. we get hundreds and hundreds of views. And Courtney, when she was at a restaurant, apparently one time, this was a few weeks ago, the waitress was like, "Oh, I watch you on Live at the Hive every Friday,"
way.
like randomly.
No way.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
A little bit of local fame.
Yeah. So, okay, so kicking it off, we're going to kick it off, just jump right into what's new for this week. And we're starting off, so there was a Google event, Google Marketing Live, and we got a bunch of new announcements and new features from the world of Google. So I think the first one, and I heard there was some conversation this morning before our stand-up about this very thing, Facebook and Google constantly iterating on their AI and trying to make things, to simplify things, remove a lot of human components, have released some new what they call smart campaigns. I'm just going to preface this entire thing by saying never ask the car salesman how much you should pay for the car.
I would agree. I would definitely
Or
agree.
like, does this thing actually work? Of course they're going to say yes. So I always, like, just my philosophy, it's not even, it's not technical at all. It's just, if we leave it to the person, the company that you're giving the money to, are you 100% sure that their optimizations are always in your best interests? That's a bit of the point. And I'm talking about death by a million cuts, because that's what this is.
Yep.
So, Alex, do you want to tell everybody about what this is all about?
Yeah. So by all means, Google seems to be launching an AI campaign branded into their AdWords that will optimize your ad for you in the right way, and it will target the right audience for your product. And it's basically trying to remove the middleman in between. So digital marketing agencies like us, and they're trying to convince people that their AI is smart enough to do all that, and it would basically give them the best results back without actually having to go out and hire and pick up these agencies in order to do the remarketing for you.
Yeah, and you know, the funny thing about these smart campaigns, so I don't know, if you're a small business, you may be familiar with AdWords Express, which is a light version of AdWords, and what it really does is it really takes the power of control, where you have a ton of control in the normal Google Ads experience, and takes that away. I do think that this would apply to smaller clients than we have. You're talking about, you know, brick and mortar. You've got a you know, a juice shop or coffee shop,
Your
or
first Shopify website,
something like that. Yeah, and there you can see here on the screen we've got some good. There's some choice comments from people. You know, Google Express were the easiest and worst option for you. Smart campaigns, hold my beer. Like that one was good. And yeah, I think
Greg Finn.
I think the thing is Google is kind of going hard at small business, and we've got a follow on to this as well. The 4 new campaign types in smart campaigns, smart shopping, local campaigns, hotel travel campaigns. Making it stupid simple to get started is probably a good thing, but TBD on, you know, will you be able to flip out of a smart campaign, or how much control will you have in the smart campaign? You know, I think there's going to be a lot of debate about this. What do you guys think about it?
I think that a simple start is great for a small business, a business that doesn't really understand the PPC market yet. They don't really understand how to push ads online. But I think...
and they may not have the money.
And they may not have the money exactly to push it across multiple platforms at this high level. But I think a future concern for these businesses is how are they going to progress? The data that they're collecting, where's this data going? Where does it stay? Where's their database? Like it is with Google, but how do we know that Google is optimizing their ads and their campaigns in the right way towards what they may want for their marketing campaign?
It's a good start when you're first starting out advertising, but I think the more you progress, it would be smarter for like smaller digital advertising agencies like us to take it further for them.
Yeah,
optimize their point.
Yeah, totally. I think the one thing is you can never run just on the one button. I mean, it'll be interesting to try it as a pilot and to test it.
Exactly.
You know, personally, regardless of how much money I would put into a campaign, I would never give somebody like Google my credit card and just say run and go at X number of dollars a day, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah, that's a dangerous thing. The interesting thing about this is, and it is a swipe at smaller businesses, is I don't think a lot of people realize, and the number might be off, but it is something like the 80% or 70% of AdWords revenue comes from accounts that spend less than $1,000 a year. So what that is that, yeah, you got Coca-Cola and you've got your big brands spending, you know, millions and millions, but as you know, if you could get everybody in KW to give you $1, right?
You'd have more than 1,000, but still, you'd definitely be able to optimize an ad.
Yeah, well, and that's the idea, is that they're going after the hey, Aaron Lobsinger. They're going after the vast majority of, you know, they want the smaller accounts. That's where they get all the money, right? It's easier to get that volume than it is to get the big ones. So, again, it's interesting. You know, not to jump forward, but just getting through this, the Google Marketing Live. AMP will be the new normal. This is actually what we're seeing in SEO with one of our clients in the sports space. Just released a new site last week. Speed went down by about 4 seconds, so it's sub 2-second page delivery. Rankings shot up almost immediately. Wow. Yeah, so page speed is like a massive, ever-growing signal, growing and ever-growing signal for search. So AMP is the new normal, the mobile landing page speed score within Google Ads. So,
are they combining them or no?
What's that?
Are they combining both the desktop and the mobile now, or?
Well, no. When you have a speed score column, so if you have a mobile landing page targeted, so in your campaign you can select device type.
Yep.
And if you've got a mobile landing page, you want that speed score to be as fast as possible. And that's going to have an impact on your cost, right? So I think one of the things is also, you know, as spend shifts more towards mobile devices, because just the growth of it, you've got to be really sure that your landing pages are going to like be very, very fast. That's another argument, I think, for the case of using platforms like Unbounce or ClickFunnels or Instapage. Or Shopify, and there are landing page builders that you can attach to Shopify very easily, is definitely the way you gotta go.
It has been the way you gotta go, especially now with mobile. It's huge. It's becoming way bigger than people using their desktops, because they have it with them all the time.
Yeah.
So there's always more and more you can do with mobile, and I believe very smart.
Yeah.
Taking it further with the mobile aspect of it.
Yeah, and you know, if it's going to save you money on your budget, then add that column and keep an eye on it, because it will. The other thing is, in these all kind of work together as a portion of a campaign that you're putting together. The important thing when you're putting a campaign together is, and we're going to talk a bit about remarketing and the all-powerful pixel and how custom audiences and remarketing groups are changing the world, is every single campaign really should have a few stages to it. And the first one is a campaign that will build your remarketing list or your custom audience, depending on where you are. One really great way to do that is to put together a mobile experience campaign to help you simply gain that attention, build the audience. Then you can go back with that remarketing group and you're able to make the full offer, depending. If you have a $200 product, the chances of maybe people will buy on mobile, I'm not saying they don't, but not on the first touch, right? If they don't know who you are, they
definitely.
Yeah. So, you know, that brings into account, you know, using AMP pages or very fast pages, attach it to mobile only campaigns, and the goal of that campaign is one thing and one thing only, and it's to build your remarketing audiences or your custom audiences if you're on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you'd optimize the full campaign, and as well as, brand identity, of course. If they see it the second time,
absolutely,
on their desktop, they'd definitely be willing to buy, versus they just see it the first time on their mobile, you know, checking it out. They're curious towards this product.
Exactly, and also taking into account like segmenting the information you get back from your customers that are trying to buy your product, because chances are somebody that's seen your product or bought from you before, the chances of them increases drastically for them rebuying something from you, because they're already familiar with you, and segmenting to these different and adapting your campaign to it as well.
Yeah.
And also for me, from a graphic design perspective, kind of marrying the graphics to updating that campaign to your target audience kind
Well,
of thing.
that's right, and I think one of the other important things is you can't have crappy ads. Like you can't take one ad and throw it into 4 different stages of your funnel. You want at the very highest level, you know, make them laugh, get their attention, have a hook, throw a zinger out there, discuss them, positive or negative sentiment, you know, whatever it might be, but gain that attention. Because the minute that you get that click or that tap through to your page, that remarketing pixel drops and you've effectively got that person to some degree, right?
Yep.
Another good way to do it, and an easy way to do it on Facebook, is to use the Facebook Canvas, which is effectively a fairly simplified landing page builder that will have instant delivery on Facebook.
Exactly.
Like it literally, I don't know what the time is, but it's almost instant when a Canvas
It's
pops up.
optimized for Facebook. It should run the fastest with Facebook.
It's very
Exactly.
convenient. I've already gone in and tried doing whipping a few things up, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like the adaptation where you can put over Instagram, Facebook, and just I love the feature of it where you can send out like a mock up of it, and you can open it up, look at it, see how it's interacting with other ads online.
Totally. Yep.
That kind of thing.
Oh,
And
Justin.
from a graphic design perspective, like
Yeah.
the color palette,
Yep.
the color, how it
Yes,
pops,
that's-
how seeing how someone sees it.
Yeah. The other cool thing too, and this was a really cool campaign, and I knew if any of the ladies from the office, they would probably laugh at me, but there was a really great Victoria's Secret ad that was running on Facebook, and it was great from a creative strategy. It's what will she wear tonight, and it was a video. It was like choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
It got a ton of coverage for its creativity because it was a Canvas ad with video, and then is she gonna have wine or is she gonna have tea? And then is she gonna stay in or is she gonna go out? And then at the end, though, the kind of ingenious part was it was connected to their store, so that those items could be purchased right there. She's obviously ending up in lingerie, out or not.
Well, for the most part, yes.
yeah.
It's Victoria's Secret.
Oh my. But that's a really creative use, again, of that. And that really segues us really quickly into something that you have to be an advertising nerd to really be excited about this, but cross-device reporting. So you were talking, did you want to cover this one, Matthew, or you were talking about it before?
Sure. So for the cross advertising segment of it, taking into account after leading a campaign, when you segment them, all the analytics, it'll cross analyze it for you. So information, again, with sorry, train of thought.
It's okay. It's okay. It's Friday afternoon. This is why we do this on Friday afternoon. What it is that, so typically what you would do if you were reporting across devices and you had a campaign that started, like we were just talking about, a campaign on mobile, and then you'd have a desktop one and you'd have different devices. You'd actually have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get cross-device reporting for one particular user, right? And that's the trick. You want to see what the funnel is. How does that person behave from the very beginning, right? From the first touch. Are they coming in on mobile, and which one of my campaigns are they attracting? And then what happens? Like, where are they going? What are they interacting with? What's the next?
And a lot of people are very excited for this because they can then, from there, move on to, okay, should we pump more resources into mobile? Should we pump more resources into, say, someone's viewing it from a desktop? That perspective.
Exactly. And then you can see here some of the tweets and the feedback on this that were pretty, a lot of people pretty excited. But what it is not only tracking at the point of conversion, which is so dangerous. That's called last click conversion tracking. It never tells the whole picture. And we work with our clients a lot in explaining how this process works. And if you think about how you would interact, it's pretty straightforward. Like, if you see a Google search ad, unless you're impulsively purchasing something or you really need something, very few people do the first purchase from a company they've never seen before.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, you're gonna, you might search them, you might find them, you'll browse their site, you might go check some Amazon reviews, you might go to social and look them up there and see if they have an active Facebook page, what do the comments look like.
Get some more information on the brand in general.
Yeah, exactly. So you go through what we call assisted conversions or multi-funnel attribution. Like, where do our customers actually go in the regular process? Because if we understand that, then we can optimize for it, right?
Exactly.
We can optimize that experience, and this is what they're talking about here. And you can imagine that if you've got a multi-million-dollar ad budget and thousands of products that you carry, like a Nike, for example, or any one of the large retailers, understanding this would be huge, right? Not just for like any size, but as you scale up the costs, right? If you can shave off a few percent and you've got a few $1 million in your ad budget, that's a lot.
Yeah, the percents, you were talking of millions of dollars, so you'd be saving hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'd also say that for future design, I mean, you can see moving into sort of the creative side. I mean, if your mobile users are shooting out the roof and that's where all your visits are coming from, I mean, again, with that rank of the speed, for instance, maybe less images, more bold captures, and we go for the design more so mobily optimized for purchase rather than versus the desktop. Or if most of the purchases are made on the desktop with the final checkout, we know that on a mobile view we are somewhat we're pushing them to the desktop purchase.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I mean, that's where you want, and what kind of ads would you put? So, as an example, in that final step of the funnel that Alex was just referring to, we do see that a lot of users do turn to desktop to make final purchases, especially when it's over $100 purchase, because there's a consideration just based on price, right?
Yeah.
So the types of ads that you would want to run are branded ads with a lot of extensions in your search ads, and with for display and with video, you would want to target people in your remarketing groups with lots of trust-free shipping, right? By now, you're at that point. The search extensions, if you load up the search extensions, you can have reviews, a direct link to a telephone number, your address. You can have site link extensions, and you can put up to 4 in there. So you can really dominate when someone searches for your brand name. You got this nice view that you can put right up there. And if you pair that with Google My Business, you'll also have possibly a shot of the exterior of your business or whatever it might be. Even if you're an e-commerce store, it doesn't matter. You still get that real estate on the search result page. And that's appropriate at the end, because oftentimes what people do just before they're gonna purchase is they type the brand name of the company, and they'll click the first thing they see in the search results, which would be your branded ad.
Yep.
Money well spent, in my opinion. For doing that, it captures them.
It seems like the most trusted source as well, right? I mean, versus on the bottom of even page 1, that's usually, I doubt most people even make it to page 2 when searching for any kind of brand. It just seems like the more authentic option.
Yeah, it also gives legitimacy to your organization if you've got the reviews extension enabled, the telephone, the address, the site link extensions that maybe have reviews as one of the site link extensions, so you're being transparent, and that's going to close the deal basically.
Exactly, and even like it shows your clients that you care about them, especially with the cross device. Like, you're able to monitor where they make the purchases more, if it's on mobile or desktop. And if you're advertising to them on mobile and they make the purchase on desktop, at least you engage them in that way where they're most comfortable, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
It's user friendly.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, what you see all the big brands with. When do you ever go on a Nike site and you can't? It's not loading properly on your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
They're optimized for those specific platforms, and they collect the data for something like this in order to fix their designs and build their designs that way.
Yep, absolutely. So last thing this is from Google Marketing Live, is responsive search ads need a bit of work. Yes, they have for a while. What this is you type search ads in, and then Google creates, using a series of templates, responsive display ads, and they actually convert really well. They are ugly as sin typically, but there's a bunch of different ones. But they really do convert well. But it does need some work in terms of custom combinations to see which ones are working. Our solution to this has always been that we create separate campaigns, unfortunately. You can't really, it's harder to split test. So Google allows you to enter 15 headlines and 4 descriptions, and it's gonna mix and match, but serving a combination up of them, you can see that on the screen. And I have a feeling this will quickly be addressed, but you can't see which ones are working best right at this very moment. There you go. But everyone's super excited. So there it is. You provide 15, 4 descriptive lines. We use 3 and 2. So, this type of testing is actually really great. We also use Ad Espresso as well, which creates groups, but it's nice to have a number of different testing metrics that you can kind of go to. That's for sure. And next up, oops. And, I guess if you've got, I would actually be more, this one, I would be more concerned with if I were a large agency. Running millions of dollars of budget, directly working with Amazon, and Amazon is saying, no, we're going to talk directly to these companies now.
Yeah.
Right. So there goes your service fee, big agencies. Anybody that we and I think they're in a sense, Amazon Advertising's division is an agency in and of itself, right? So it's almost like a natural progression in a sense.
It's kind of ironic, in my opinion, what they're saying. I mean, Amazon says that they're directly working with big brands, cutting out ad agencies for what purpose? To, again, cut that middleman out. So in our argument back, I mean, like, this is kind of, I'd say, like a response from what we would say, like, do you want to let, like, does Amazon have the best intention for your business, or would an agency that you work hand in hand with, like a partnership, and where their success is based off of yours? I mean, Amazon's getting paid at the end of the day. Who knows if they want to steer your campaign in the right direction that you want, or how if it's beneficial towards them. Yeah,
I think you're cynical, and that's probably good. But I do think that Amazon would be stupid. Like, these are their big advertisers. Like, Amazon doesn't work with small budgets directly at all, right? So even on the agency side, I think that Amazon is like the world eater. Like, they want to eat the universe, just like Facebook wants to eat the universe. And they're going to create, Facebook marketing experts are contacting, anytime there's an ad account that begins to spend, people are being contacted by a Facebook marketing expert to actually help them define their campaign, like basically what we would do. So they're all doing it to a different degree. And I think with Amazon, though, just by the very nature of what they do, it's going to be the big guys that are going to hurt, and they're going to go after not like. So if you're, a Coca-Cola or Pepsi or any one of these big brands, especially if you've got a big presence on, see there. So, like Amazon, for example, with some of our largest brands, I'll just zoom this in a bit, right? So they can work to secure deals for Prime Day. I mean, that Amazon wields a pretty big stick there, right? Like, in terms of like, hey, I can, we can give you this great placements, we can do this for you, but we can also secure you a flash sale. If you're familiar with how flash sales work, if you're an Amazon, if you're an Amazon store like seller, you have to apply for a flash sale, and they review it, and they will say yes or no. Whether or not you can't just instantly go do it, because you have to conform to a bunch of policies, and it has to be a truly good deal. So that is going to be really challenging for these agencies that have these big clients. They're not going to be able to compete with Amazon, right?
Yeah. So you think there's going to be like some limitations towards the marketing campaign direction as well, because they have to work hand in hand with Amazon? So you think, for instance, let's say one of these big enterprises, they want to shift in direction A, but it's not compatible with Amazon or in the service that Amazon provides. Is that, you think there may be a barrier there working alongside with Amazon?
No, I think the companies that are dumping money into it, and the spends across digital are outpacing traditional. So you see this big shift, especially when you're talking multi-million-dollar budgets. You're seeing this big shift from one to the other, right? And I think what's going to happen is, like, so if the power of Amazon is to say, if you're producing a retail item, you're probably doing pretty good on Amazon right now if you're there, right? Just because of how sales are growing. So I don't think so. I think there will be an Amazon agency of some sort, but I feel like it's for Fortune 500s. It's not going to be like what Facebook does. What Facebook and Google are going after is the smaller ones.
Yeah.
And Amazon is saying, no, we're sticking at the top level. It's going to be interesting to see. It's especially because The thing with Amazon is they've always had this way of, like, you use Amazon, fulfillment by Amazon to do your shipping. You'll have an Amazon store. You're running your site on Amazon AWS and the Elastic Cloud. They have this really wild way of, like,
grasping your business.
Yes, yes. And I actually was talking to a, like, Amazon power seller the other day, and he does millions of dollars a year, like millions of dollars a year. And he's moving he moved away from drop shipping almost completely, because what he saw as a pattern was Amazon has all of that data, just right. Like, everybody that sells on Amazon has all the data, and they are madly, wildly crunching that data for the most popular products.
Yep.
Right. And what Amazon is doing, and I do believe this, is Amazon is either finding partners for it, or making their own devices and then promoting the most popular, say, tech gadgets, and understanding that, like, you're basically, like,
now under their brand.
They're your frenemy. Yeah, they're gonna take you out at some.
Way to describe
they'll
it.
take you out at some point. They've done it before. So, you know, again, really interesting times. A really interesting just series of new releases and stuff coming out, like, all one right after the other.
In a way, you're sort of a slave to the Amazon.
Yeah.
Just your business is a slave to the Amazon, but why do they get you to do that? They will produce some results. I mean, they have the client base, they have the traffic to their website. It looks like it's a gold mine. It looks like all is green on this other side, but you don't actually really understand how much of your business is falling into that service or falling into that Amazon kind of integration.
That's right. That's right. So moving right along here, apparently Trump just realized something happened and tweeted about this like minutes ago. But this was a couple of days ago. $5 billion antitrust fine for Google. So that'll take them all of about 4 seconds to make that back. Juice the old CPCs by about 2.5% across the board, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is exactly what's probably happening. But the background on this one is that, and it's antitrusty. Yeah, for sure it is. So Samsung was not happy that Google has forced them to include Google Maps and Google Search and all of the Google suite of products directly on all Samsung phones. Kind of like IBM probably wasn't happy back in the 90s when Microsoft Windows had to be installed, whether they used it or not.
Yep.
I guess Google did not make the argument. But yeah, it could go up. It could go up to 11 billion. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. So obviously, Google is going to argue. Oh, it's not. This is not a big amount for Google. It's a big amount in general, but I think the thing is whether it cascades into the states, because that would have other ramifications. I would think likely not, given Trump and the FTC, I guess. The FTC. But I think Google's got to. I don't know that Google can necessarily make the case that the only way they could pay for Android development is by installing all of their default apps on millions of devices that Samsung makes. I mean,
like, really? Is that really the only way to do it?
Yeah, I don't. They say the practice was beneficial. Let's see what their actual blog post directly says.
Well, I mean, hey, the ironic point for me there is that, like, I mean, Google's AdWords, they're technically an ad source. They're a marketing resource that they can't do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, and we seen this last year when they actually got sued again by the EU for 2.7 billion for something similar. It was the over promotion of their store in the search. And I mean, apparently,
to put themselves over the rivals.
Yeah, exactly. So is Google ever going to do it fair? Who knows? I mean, we'll have to find out.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? Historically, you would go back and you would say, is Microsoft ever going to do it fair? And if you go back further, you would say, is IBM ever going to do it fair? There's always a monster out there, like the biggest company, right? Hannah's saying, she's saw a coffee mug today with "I don't need Google, my wife knows everything." That's just being a smart husband. You say that. You know, again, Google's going to make the argument that Android provides choice because it's an open source system and it's so flexible. So why wouldn't you just put our highest monetizing apps on your device? I think there's got to be a middle ground there, especially when there's agreements like a Samsung would have. It's again, depending on what side of that argument you're on, you can make any one of those types of arguments, really, right?
Yeah, you could argue towards Samsung and say, I mean, like, hey, they are on the Android platform or the Android database, so this is technically good for them to have all this integrated. And then you could come from, you know, I'm sure what Samsung's coming from, they say, we don't want all your products on our phone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. They may want their, well, not that Samsung ever had really great, their web browser's really odd. And it's Chrome anyways, so it's like, okay. But the fact that you are forced to do it is the antitrust side.
Yeah.
It's like you can't use this if you don't do that. So it's not that open. And then the interesting follow-on to this, if you're into this kind of thing, and you know what, we're gonna run out of time. We gotta we'll have to zip. We'll do a summary of what's working because it does relate. Like it does. It's actually interesting because what we can start to do is do like what's new as it relates to what's working. And
Yeah.
we were talking a lot about cross-platform tracking, and that's what we were going to talk about. But the next one that's up that is really, really interesting is Project Fuchsia. And this is interesting because it's been worked on for years, but has not been formally approved as part of the roadmap, so it may or may never be used. I was reading some pretty interesting dev articles earlier this week that inside of Google, especially on the Android side, it's a 10-year-old operating system. They started it out to build it from the ground up, and if there's this feeling internally they made a lot of mistakes. Yeah. In terms of, so for example, I can't remember what the percentage is, but it is a shockingly low percentage of manufacturers actually use the proper builds of Android for the devices that Google intends.
Oh, wow.
So Google's really unhappy about the fact that, you know, if whatever type of manufacturer is putting their stuff on their devices, Android may run improperly. Right? It may run slow, it may run extremely inefficiently, and keep in mind, I think the graphic was here. Look at the numbers, right? 1,300 brands are powered by Android, 24,000 different devices at every price point. So, you know, I think a lot of people, everybody thinks of Samsung. Samsung is probably not the one that they're talking about. It's all these other devices.
Probably the other ones. You're talking, you know, you have a few even like LG. I know there's a bunch. The Hawaii or whatever, I don't know what
Huawei.
those are. Yeah, Huawei.
Which you're not supposed to buy.
Yeah.
So this the Skunkworks project, which just basically there was a Skunkworks project is from back in the day where it's an engineering team that doesn't have any oversight, so they can do whatever they want. Because the minute you get bureaucratic oversight, they used it during I think World War II to help quickly develop weapons.
Sounds like mad scientists in the making.
Yeah. So basically there's 100, so at Google, a small group of engineers is considered 100, which it is. It's called Project Fuchsia, and it's designed to help solve some of those problems of Android mistakes. But the other thing is that you've got an Android mobile operating system, a Chrome OS, Chrome OS, for all the Chromebook style devices. And then you've got embedded devices like Google Home. Mm-hmm. And what the thinking is you would have one OS to power everything, right? Tablet, mobile device, Chrome OS, and embedded voice-enabled devices, which are the future, right?
Yep.
So this is the thing. So every Android developer in the world right now is crying. Because you got to rewrite your code, but it is really interesting to kind of see this kind of thing happening, and where it could go.
There's
right?
a lot of talk around it, but there's a concern that it probably doesn't have a roadmap. So some people say in the next 5 years it'll be used, but
it has
something they've been working on.
It has an engineering roadmap. It doesn't have a product roadmap. Yeah. There's no plan. It is like they're being very clear, saying we have not made the decision yet. And again, this is like a Google thing. Not that you would do this, I don't think, regardlessly, like you wouldn't be able to do it endlessly forever, but Google could shelve that project and it's like no harm, no foul.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
It's not going to hurt them.
Or they're just seeing people's reactions to it.
Yeah.
See what they think, what they really think about it.
Yeah, these are big deals, right? In terms of like what you do when you own 85% of the market share, right? And the reason is like, you know, I think everybody thinks that iOS and Apple are the giant player, but there's so many more brands that have lower end phones and everything else. Like Samsung's just one of 1,300, right?
Exactly.
So there's just a lot more of them. If they were to go and do a breaking change, that would shake up an entire telecom industry.
Yep.
Right? Like that would not be an easy thing for sure.
The iPhones wouldn't be touched, for the record, but still, I mean,
Absolutely.
I mean, when you have most of the market on Android, anyways, it's definitely an enterprise level switch. Google with something like this shifts the market drastically. So I feel like also like a little bit of community input it could be rational, but I mean, with the big players nowadays, I mean, they own so much of the market, they're basically going to tell you how the future is going to be.
Totally. That's my wife on the stream. Hi, honey. Yeah, totally. I mean, you know, it's like I said, it's interesting times to see what happens. If it's going to happen, it's not going to happen like next year. It's not a BlackBerry situation where they were releasing their OS on their dying breath, where they were hoping somebody, you know, was too late. They should have done it a decade before. But I think the good thing is that Google is thinking about the fact that code base started out 10 years ago, and they did make a lot of mistakes and things they want to rectify and a second version. And, you know, there's a few smart people working at Google that can figure out how to transition things. So, you know, one of the things we're going to do like 4 minutes on what's working and not go over because
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to it.
Yeah. So, but you know what, the kind of cool thing is, and I think, you know, maybe thematically we'll have like the theme at the beginning, and then that'll lead people through and then go right to like what it is. We have been talking this entire time about how like remarketing groups, and you structure your campaigns for devices and messaging the right point in this kind of multi attribution funnel. Like, you know, just having one banner and spinning it out there, you know, is not going to cut it these days.
No.
Right?
Even if you invest all your money into it, it doesn't matter how much you push, a good ad will show and it will perform based off the design, based off the copy. And these are kind of, I feel like that was kind of the integration between, you know, the news and then what's working is that how is this ADI going to do that? Like, for instance, a good ad to me would be something, you know, I've seen before, something that's trending, for example. I've seen it before. It's something I know. So if you were to create an ad similar to that, I recognize it, you know, I look, it catches my eye. Whether or not this ADI and this kind of this kind of machine learning process is going to be able to deliver that kind of quality to the user, I'm very curious to see.
I think it does already. I mean, if we're talking about straight up audience matching, there's a bunch of AI in there that helps you match the big data, right? So this is just the example, and what we've got up here is there we go. Something that I think a lot of people don't realize exists, but there's a thing called Facebook Analytics. So Facebook Analytics is a function of installing what's known as the all-powerful and magical Facebook Pixel, and this is just a guide to it. Now, the thing is with the Facebook Pixel is that it performs a whole bunch of functions. It's not just one thing. Like Facebook used to have, I think it was 4 or 5 different pixels. You had a conversion pixel and an audience tracking pixel and you know, all these different things, and they've merged it all into one. So this one pixel that you install on your website, your landing pages, and you create what are called custom events, what happens is you start to gain this really incredible insight into who is interacting with your page. So this is ours. This is our Honey Pump Marketing Pixel, so we're happy to show it. And you can see that in here, we can see all sorts this is landing pages that come to our site. So our site has been tracked. It's connected to the pixels. So when our fans visit our website, we can match those people up into a group. And what it does is then what Facebook does is when you're running this campaign and you run a test, you can create these groups. You can create a group based on demographics, technology, their journeys on your site, your own funnels that you decide. And what you end up getting out of it is the ability to create what are called custom audiences. Now, these custom audiences can deliver with astonishing accuracy to what are called lookalike audiences. So the kind of concept here is I track my website, my landing page, and I learn all about my customers. I can import my customer list, my lead list. Facebook matches it with both their own data and third-party data, like mortgage, credit scores.
Yep.
I can't remember how many third-party data providers they were using. They claim in the States that they're going to stop using it. But
so they claim.
yeah, unless Congress tells them to do it, they probably won't.
I
But
just think that they kind of overlook how graphic design plays a role in this as well, because it's so specific and you can see what audiences, even like the ones that are very close to each other, they almost mirror each other, but they have specific differences to them. From a graphic design perspective, always tweaking that graphic or like
For
to match
sure.
the ad copy for that audience again to get your conversions through. But it's very good.
Well, I
to
think,
see.
and it's funny, it's interesting that you say that. I don't delineate graphic design and visual design from communications and communications marketing. Like, it's language, it's what you're saying, it's how you're saying it, it's who you're saying it to. And all of that goes together. And yeah, like it's literally everything. So I'll give you a good example, right? So this other friend of mine who he does this great business of going to Alibaba, finding products, drop shipping, like buying pallets of stuff, sending it to Amazon. He's got another distribution warehouse. So Alibaba, he can order 5,000 of this item.
Yep.
Have it sent directly to a warehouse. Never see the product ever, right? That's called drop shipping. And then when someone places an order, the warehouse receives the order. It directly ships it to that individual. No harm, no foul. So here's what he did, and I thought it was stupid and it's brilliant at the same time, and it's important because if you can merge those two, you got a winner. So if you remember Game of Thrones,
Of course.
I know it just hasn't. I know. What is it coming back? 2020.
Remember Game of Thrones?
I know. I laughed. I was so into it, and then it's like, oh, we're not releasing anything until 2019. That's There's nothing even this year. Oh, zoom in on the guy on the left. This is Ben.
Yeah, this is Ben Miller.
Yeah, so Ben, you've missed so much of Live at the Hive. Where have you been?
He's in New York right now, actually.
Oh yeah, he's gonna come on. Is he gonna be a guest? Ben, are you gonna be a guest sometime?
Oh yeah, when he's famous, he'll be a guest.
We can make you famous. Well, we're getting lots of hearts. I think those are hearts from Ben. That's good. So this is Game of Thrones. Sorry, we got sidetracked there because we're just a few minutes over time. But so Game of Thrones is on. He finds these items that go. So obviously you're not gonna put like House Targaryen on a mug and try to sell it because you get sued, right?
Yeah.
But there are things that you get away with that are parody, that are similar enough, and a lot of people do it. So anyways, he finds these really ugly looking wolf mugs on Alibaba, right?
Yeah.
Buys 10,000 of them, right? Goes onto Facebook. He's very good at Facebook ads, this guy. So he goes on Facebook and he split tests like 7-8 different ads. He had these custom audiences he was building because like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And he would go buy crap that just looked like something that might be in Game of Thrones.
And just cross the branding.
And then, he had pictures of, like he had a guy holding it, the guy was out of focus, and all you could see was the mug, but you could kind of see him, and then he did different variations, and was selling it as, are you for House Targaryen, right? Are you, right? Like, and would, in the copy and in the visual, was really tweaking people. He sold 10,000 of them in less than 5 days.
Wow.
Because he was using custom audiences and tracking people, and then using Game of Thrones. And he had a bunch of Game of Thrones. He was placing the pixel on other Game of Thrones sites. So the thing is like, yeah, Ben, you're absolutely.
I think my sister joined as well. Hey Rachel.
It's all the hearts. We like the hearts.
Yeah,
Yes.
keep them
The
coming.
more hearts, the better.
Well, I think Jessica, you could be a guest. I think
Jessica Cook, yeah.
if anybody's in graphic design at Roma Fence,
They're actually
you know
for
what?
a program.
You know what, Jessica?
Advertising.
We are actually going to have some of our friends from Shopify on.
Yeah.
We've got some people from Smile that are going to come on. Actually, you know, going through the end of the summer, and it really, I think, kicking off at the end of the summer, we're going to have a lot of guests, and we'd like to have other marketers, right?
How could you not send hearts? The wisdom they're giving us is wonderful.
This is see what really gets me going is the engagement in the comments.
Yeah.
That's the magic of Facebook Live. It truly is. Anyways, so when you look at, like, it sounds really stupid, right? I mean, it's this ridiculous looking wolf mug. And he was selling it for like $19.99 and bought it for about $4.
So there again, knowing the audience, just that.
Knowing the
that
audience.
slogan, just that line.
Yeah.
The fans
Exactly.
go nuts over it.
And
Yeah.
with the right time, the right people, I mean, like, you are targeting people that they've seen Game of Thrones, they're on Game of Thrones currently. Why not push them Game of Thrones?
Well, and from a design perspective, he had about 12 different shots that they had taken. I mean, he took them with like a DSLR, like a Canon Rebel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like not a
Anything
this is
hanging around the
nothing.
house.
This is nothing major. And then what he did was he wrote a bunch of copy that really tweaked people, like, you know, he would write his ad copy based on the latest episodes, not directly. Would reference House Targaryen
Yeah.
in a Stark, right? Obviously, it's a wolf mug, so it's House Stark.
Yeah.
You know, get people going, and they were just buying it like crazy for $19.99 as gifts for
Yeah,
people.
the Game of Thrones fans, anything associated with Game of Thrones, the
Yeah,
why.
you could do it with Harry Potter, obviously.
Oh,
You
it's
could-
something like that.
you
And
could-
the way that he's like targeting the copy, like he's even like House Targaryen, you know, like you have to watch the show to know what this is. Like
Yeah.
he's targeting the fans, like the diehard fans that like this is what you need. This is a collector's item sort of thing. I feel like that's the way he was marketing it.
Yeah, entertaining, understanding your audience, using those Facebook pixels, and you can see. Here's an example. This again is our Facebook pixel. Don't worry, so it's nobody else's. But you can see that we have a bunch of different events in here. Oh no, you can't. I'm lying. You can't see anything. There you go. But this Facebook pixel will fire on any page that it's tracked on, no matter what. And if you have a bunch of these other feeder sites or your own product sites, you can create incredibly targeted, powerful audiences. And the last part of this, before we wrap up, is you have your audience, and then what Facebook allows you to do is select the target. You could do United States, you can do Canada, you can do all of North America. Select a sample size and create what's called a lookalike audience. And this is when big data and the AI comes in and says, we have a profile on these. So let's say what we've got right now in one of our audiences, we have, I think, 16,500 people, right? Those are our direct audience members. We can go into Facebook and say, I want a 2% sample size of the entire northeast of the United States, including these states, that will look like these people. They have the same interests, they have the same motivations, they're in the same industries. And because Facebook has all of that data together, you've got the ability to run those targeted ads.
Exactly.
And that's why sometimes if you're on Facebook, for example, you'll be like, I don't even know why. Ooh, look at that.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of those, like, I've never seen that.
I literally
but-
just saw this. Like I was just talking about this. I just searched this.
Yeah, that actually happened as we were near the beginning of this episode. Last week, I'm looking to get a car.
Yep.
Volkswagen. Boom. Automatically next day for this past week.
Volkswagen.
And did you only say
Yeah.
Volkswagen near your phone?
Oh, yeah.
No.
All I had to do was go look. I just
Yeah.
went on the website and looked.
But you know what? One thing, and this does have to do with. Thanks, Matt. That's like Dan overlay. Oh, he deleted it. Don't delete comments, you guys. You can leave them there. What was I gonna say?
Back to the Volkswagen like that.
Oh yeah, no. Sorry, the last point about where Facebook gets their data.
Yeah.
They have admitted in the States, and obviously, that they read Facebook Messenger. Like, they can see that. So if you save, this is the thing. Some people are like, I only set it near my phone. I would be more skeptical. I think, you could put on your tinfoil hat. Those cameras can be activated. There's all sorts, that's real. That is real, that's absolutely real. But people think that Facebook is listening to deliver ads. Probably not. But if you're typing in Facebook Messenger and you type in Volkswagen or you're chatting, right? It's picking that up. It's picking it up also from Gmail for Google.
It picks out just these keywords even.
Yeah, it just picks out words, and you have access to everything. So again, if you think about the creepiness of what Facebook does in terms of how much data it collects, but if you're a marketer and you're saying, I really want to find what people are really interested in right now, then you've got this massive opportunity to like knock it out of the park with these really targeted groups, and that goes for Snap, Twitter, Facebook, Google Ads, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And Bing, to a different degree.
To a different degree than Google.
Well, but Microsoft's got a pretty big network in there. They just yeah. All right. Well, that's it. I think we went a little bit over, but I think we've refined that. Oh, did we stop? What's going on here? Oh no, I paused the video. All right. Well, that's it for Live at the Hive. We hope you enjoyed today's talk on targeting, remarketing, and all sorts of other fun stuff, $5 billion fines and whatnot. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.
See you guys. Thanks for tuning in.